it's like talking to people who don't know. They're like, you passed the test, cool. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, I passed the test.
Let's welcome our next guest who just recently passed the CPA exam.
I'm Victoria. I'm from Easton, Pennsylvania. I went to school in Binghamton University. It's in upstate New York. I did my bachelor's in accounting and I also got my MBA from there. I took the CPA during my grad school year. Now I currently work for Grant Thornton. I do risk advisory. I specifically test controls, so I do internal auditing.
And what advice would you like to share?
So the lectures are great. I just actually told my friend this because he's doing audit. And for audit, when I looked through my book, a lot, like it was just like everything was highlighted. Or like I'd go through pages and there was nothing. But the lectures sometimes were just so long and they go so slow. If you're going through the lectures, for Reg and FAR, they're so useful because they explain the math. But when there's really no math, I say either if you can listen to them faster. I really can't do that because I can't like read and listen to them at the same time. But don't waste the time. Like if it's an hour-long lecture, most of the time you could probably read it in 30 minutes. And if you look at the amount of time they spend marking up, it's probably 30 minutes and they're just wasting more of your time like talking because they try to like make jokes. Like read the lectures, like actually read the page, see what they highlight, but read it yourself and understand it, because I took BEC and one of my like essays was about the perpetual versus periodic like inventory message ways, and I knew about it in class, but in the book I literally looked at my notes and it said like, this will most likely not be tested, don't focus on it. And then I had a whole essay on it and I was like, well, thank God that like I knew what it was, because I took accounting like recently and like I just did it. But if it's something you don't know and in the book they don't really touch on it, so read the book. Don't focus straight on the lectures and what they tell you. You really need to read the book yourself. And don't get hung up on like, oh, they didn't highlight it, they didn't write it down. Read them. Even if you watch the lecture first, go back, read them yourself, write your own notes. You need it in your own words. You can't learn something not in your own way. It's rough. It's just something you gotta push through. Don't give up. I hit the point where I literally was like, if I fail, I don't want to take it again, but it's so worth it. If you already have a test pass, like once you start, it's a journey. You just gotta keep pushing through it. It's gonna suck, but that feeling of seeing the passing score is like the best feeling I think I've ever experienced. I cried when I got my FAR score. Like my dad said I literally was jumping in place, like running around. Like it was the best feeling ever, and I wish everyone could experience that feeling. If you have any support routes, whether you do Becker, Ninja, like any of that, if there's like groups, join them. If you can talk to people, like I did the first 3 alone. I felt like anytime, like I studied with my friends because we were all doing it together. But every time I'd ask a question, I always would feel stupid if they understood it. Like asking other people for their advice, if they know how to do something, it's so much easier than trying to figure it out yourself. Like no question is stupid. I just spent an hour on the phone with my sister's friend who's studying for like just starting, and she was so overwhelmed she didn't know what to do. We all need some help. We all need a little push. Don't feel bad to reach out. I made so many friends on that CPA page, and we just be like, I was like, hey, do you understand like stockholders equity? Please explain to me how this number is happening, because like I just can't do it. And someone understands it somewhere. Someone knows a trick somewhere that helps. Reach out to people. It's so helpful. I met a person on the Facebook page and we did a call a couple times because he had already failed, I think 2 or 3 times, and he was getting ready for his retake and he was working tax. So I don't remember if it was his busy season or not. And I would just be like, yeah, like this is my first time going through the stuff. And he was just like, me explaining it to you was helping him memorize it. And because like obviously I have to learn it in my own way, I would come up like with long-term liabilities. I found a way to just like make a formula work for every single question, and it just like clicked for him then, and it trickles down helping other people. So it's always worth it to reach out to someone. I also took an auditing class, and then I worked as an internal auditor for an internship. So I felt like for me, a lot of audit I had already known, so it was kind of like that was an easier one for me. But then, like I've never done taxes, so I was just like, I don't know how to do any of this. Like that was hard. FAR is just an overload of information. Even though I have a bachelor's in accounting, I have an MBA with a concentration in accounting, and there was just so much accounting on there, I didn't know what to do with myself. The CPA is not an easy thing, and like my study ways isn't gonna work for everyone, but like everyone has their own way, and I needed all the advice I could get. I would ask everyone. All my friends who are now taking it, they ask everyone. It's just a pool of knowledge that we all need to help each other with.